Okay, this question is, can you help me get started with Perplexity, and also, why would I use it? Okay, I'll take those in reverse order. So Perplexity is really good for research, and specifically web research. Now, when Perplexity first came out, the ChatGPTs, Geminis, and other tools that were out at the time, they didn't really have a web search. Or if they had it, it wasn't really that developed yet. And Perplexity's whole angle and position in the market was that they were web search first, and then they had the large language models behind the scenes, but they focused on web search, or in web research, and they've just built on that over years now. And then the other big thing with Perplexity is the different models that you can use, where ChatGPT will just have GPT-5.2 and GPT-5.2 Thinking and GPT-5.2 Pro and other GPT models. And Gemini just has Gemini models. Perplexity, they have their own model, which is Sonar, but then they also have Gemini models and GPT models and Claude models and Grok models and DeepSeek models sometimes, and etc. So those are kind of the main reasons why you would use Perplexity. Mainly research, different models, and most of the answers that you get from it, because it's so research-centric, it'll cite sources. So if it hallucinates, you have a much easier path to verify whatever the output is, because it's really good at citing sources. So I'll take the rest of the video to just kind of go through, help you get started with Perplexity. This is one of the tools that we recommend people start with. It's with ChatGPT or Gemini, Claude, Copilot, or Perplexity. So we'll go through the basics of Perplexity. There's a lot in here, so this isn't really a deep dive in the different areas. There we have different videos for a lot of the different topics, but this is just kind of an overview of Perplexity. So first thing, if you want to get to Perplexity, you go to perplexity.ai and you get to this screen. We have Perplexity Pro. There are 3 levels today. They keep changing things, so this might be different when you listen to this, but there's a free, there's Pro, and there's Max. And you'll see as you go through things, let's say you have the free plan. If you see Pro next to something, that means you can't use it unless you have the Pro plan. We have Pro, so I can't show you that, but we don't have Max. So this, if I want to use Claude Opus 4.6, I would need Max to do that. If I want to use this model, I'm sorry, bad example, but if anything that has Max next to it, I would need Max. Anything that has Pro, I would need Pro. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. So once you're on the site, this box in the middle is just the main prompting box that pretty much all the tools have. So if you have whatever prompt you're going to put in, this is where you put it in. So for example, if I just have a regular whatever question, I can put that in, and then here's my answer. And like I mentioned, you will almost always get some kind of citation. So it's capital of Japan, Tokyo, no problem. But then right next to it, there's this little Wikipedia, and then if I hover over that, I get the 3 sources that it looked at to get that answer. And if I'm I don't know if the capital of Japan is Tokyo, I can click on this, and then it'll go to that source. And I can go here, and I can click on any of the sources that it used, and then there's actually a bigger list here. So any answer you get, this is a pretty straightforward question, a pretty straightforward answer, but even this has a citation next to it. So let me go back to the beginning. So this is just where you put in your prompt. It can be a simple 1-line prompt. It could be a much longer prompt, but everything goes in here. And click on the plus here. This is where you can upload a file. You can upload images. So if you wanted to analyze an image, if you wanted to read a file and you want to prompt it based off of that file, you can upload that here. You can connect to different services, so Google Drive, Dropbox. There are a bunch of other connectors, they call them, but it's just things that you can, outside sources that you can connect to bring data into Perplexity. So, I mean, here's the list that you could do. So Gmail, Calendar, Outlook, Dropbox, Notion, etc. Each of these you'd have to click enable, and then there are different permissions that you have to agree to. But you can connect a bunch of different services to it. And then you can also do what they call sources. So you can click on web to do just across the entire internet. You can do academic, which will search academic papers, and then you can do social, which will do discussions and opinions. It'll do like different social sites. There's deep research, which is similar to if you've used like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. They all have a deep research. If you haven't, deep research is basically if you have something that's not just a simple, like what's the capital of Japan? If you have something that you might search hundreds of sites, you can do deep research, and the tool will go through and search as many sites as it thinks is relevant or that you prompt it to, and then it'll give you a report. And the reports can be dozens of pages. It just really depends on what your question is, but it can save you a ton of time. So instead of having to go through many sites, it'll just do it for you. So like, for example, if you are, let's say you do marketing and you want to find the latest trends in whatever thing, you can ask it for the trends across whatever industries, and then it can go out and search, again, hundreds of sites to just grab all that information, then put it in a report, and then give that to you, and while you go and do other things. Create files and apps. It used to be called labs. I think it used to be called projects. They keep changing the name of this, but this is basically where you can give it instructions and it will usually code something for you. So it'll create a document. Like usually they're like interactive documents or interactive slides, interactive dashboards where you can hover over things and they move. You can click on different things. They'll have different tabs. Like it'll usually create some kind of actual application that you can either run in Perplexity, or it gives you maybe like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or creates like a React app. Like it will create different kinds of applications. Learn step by step. They actually just switched this over. It is kind of a student mode where if I don't have this turned on and I ask it something like solve this math problem, it'll just give me the answer to the math problem. Learn step by step, it'll actually pause and won't just say, here's the answer to the question. It'll be more like a teacher or a tutor, and it'll just like, well, here is the area of math. Like this is an algebra question, and that it's this area of algebra. And what do you think the answer is? And it kind of goes back and forth and doesn't just give you the answer. And Model Council is brand new. It basically will take whatever you prompt it and it'll put it through more than one model, so you can see the differences in the different models. And there's a lot in there. There's a lot of stuff in Perplexity, but that's just some of the stuff that's in here in the plus menu. Already kind of touched on the models. One thing to note, it's like, yes, this has Gemini models, and yes, it has OpenAI models, and it has Claude models, etc. The experience in this will be different from if you use it in, let's say, Gemini, because they tune the models differently. And that's a whole different topic for a different video. But the short version is like each model will have training data, and then it will have fine tuning. And the fine tuning, it can basically be quote unquote tuned for lots of different purposes. So you can tune it to answer questions. You can tune it to do research. You can tune it to code. You can tune it to write. You can tune it to do a bunch of things. Because Perplexity's whole thing is research, most of them are tuned for research. If you use Gemini within the Gemini app, it's not necessarily tuned for research. It might be tuned for general purpose. It might be tuned for other stuff. So generally, yes, Perplexity has access to all these different models, but it's not necessarily the same experience that you would have if you used ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or Grok or whatever. The little microphone here is for dictation. So if instead of typing in my prompt, if I wanted to actually speak my prompt, I could just do that here. So I will do the same thing as before. Actually, yeah, I don't have the permissions for my mic set in here, so I will skip that actually. And I can basically click on this, and then I'll have to give it permission to use my mic, and then I can just talk like I'm talking now instead of typing things. Voice mode actually switches, and I can talk to it, and it can talk back to me. Let me see what else is in here. So one of the other things in here, if you click the little bell here, this is your notifications. And I don't have any in here, but the more interesting thing in here is this little schedule a task. And you can come in here and you can have Perplexity send you something every day, or every time period. So like the example in here, send me a daily summary of AI news every morning. It's like, sure, let's say you wanted to do that. So you type that in, and then we'll talk about Spaces in a minute, but then you can put it on whatever schedule. So if I just want it to happen one time, I can do once and then put the date and the time that I want. But like this is a daily summary, so maybe I put this to daily, and then I have to just pick the time. Maybe I want to do it weekly, and I pick the day and the time, etc. And then I can say when it expires, and then I can say how I want it to notify me. So just in Perplexity, I can set it up with my email, and I can set it up to send me mobile notifications. And then there's a bunch of other stuff in here. I can pick the mode, and I can pick the model, and I can pick the sources. This is the same thing as the selections here. Let me see. Yeah. So I can actually go into here, and there are some other examples if I want a news digest, if I want a market forecast, tech insights, etc. Price alerts. There are a lot of finance things with Perplexity. So if I just want to get stock or crypto finance like price alerts, I can set that up in here. There are a bunch of different tasks and notifications that can be set up in here. What else? Let's see. So if we look on the left menu here, history is just your old chat. So like this, the one I just put in here, like what's the capital of Japan? Like this 10 minutes ago, I just did this. So if I wanted to go back to old chats, I can come into history and then click on that, and then now it's here. And if I want to have a follow-up conversation with this, I can just kind of keep going. So all my old chats are under history, and I can either highlight it, like mouse over it, and then select it from here, or I can click on it, and then it brings it up to this screen. And then you can see at the top, you can have threads, you can have media. Those are just the different things that it would, usually images that it creates for you. If you create applications, and then if you have documents, it lists them all in here. If you don't want something, usually it'll have like a little ellipsis menu here, and you can do something with it. Like I said, I don't want this, I'll just delete it, and then now it's gone. Discover is, again, this whole platform is more tied into web stuff than other platforms. So this is really different web stuff. There's not even that much like language model stuff in here. This is really just web stuff. So you can just discover different stories. These are top stories. If you want to go into different topics, so these are tech and science stories. These are business stories. These are arts and culture stories, etc. Discover tab is if you really want to use this kind of a one-stop shop for LLM stuff and web stuff. I don't really use that a ton. I'll skip over Spaces and come back to that in a second. As I mentioned, finance, again, this is more if you want to use this tool instead of like a Google or Yahoo Finance or whatever you might use, it has all kinds of different finance stuff in here, and crypto and earnings and predictions, etc. But there's a bunch of finance stuff built in, and similarly with other topics. So it has travel, and you can ask whatever stuff, but this is very specific to traveling, and there's stuff if you want to do shopping stuff, academic. These are usually like research papers, papers, journals, and more, sports stuff. If you want to search patents. And again, you can do most of these from just the main page, just from here. It's just if you know that you're only going to do sports, like this will just kind of narrow the focus, narrow the context of the tool. Spaces there's kind of a big topic. We have a video just on spaces, but just the quick version of spaces is if you want to, it's kind of like a folder. That's why it has a little folder icon. It's kind of like a folder where you can put in your different chats or threads, as I call them. And if you just have a certain topic, so for example, if you are a project manager and you have different kinds of projects, you can create one space for each project. Or if you want to maybe make a space for each like business area. So like you want one for marketing, you want one for sales, you want one for, I don't know, HR, you want one for product, etc. Then you can put whatever conversations you have in there, and then you can also upload files that are specific to it. If you have websites that you want to put in for every search, so it's like I always want to search, Wikipedia, I always want to search this site, you can actually just add links to those sites. Maybe you just want to put it in your business site, whatever it is, your competition site if you're doing market research, and then you can add specific instructions to put in there and schedule tasks to it. I mean, spaces are actually really useful once you start using the tool and then seeing, it's like, okay, I don't want to have to put in this context every time. It's like every time, look at this site and look at this business and search these things and reference these other files. You can just put all that stuff in here once and then just come into the space. Instead of going here to the main screen, you can just come in and go to whatever space you want. Let me see. What else is in here? I mean, there's a lot more. I feel like that's a lot. It's enough to get you started. There are a couple things just in this main prompting box here. If you type, and it says it right in here, it's just really easy to miss. If you type @ which is like Shift-2 on most keyboards, it's kind of a shortcut for whatever sources you want or whatever space. And also if you put in a /, then it goes to shortcuts. And you can pick your search mode if you want to do, again, deep research, model console if you have Macs, create files and apps, or it actually has prompt shortcuts. So some of these are built in, and if you click the little edit next to it, you can go in, you can give your shortcut a name, you can give it whatever instructions, which is basically your prompt, and then advanced is, again, the same settings from multiple places. Like you can pick your mode, you can pick your model, you can pick your sources here. But then once you have these set up, you can just hit / and then type in the name of your shortcut. And if you want to create a new one, obviously, you go down to create a new shortcut and then put in all that information. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good overview. That was the other thing. The other thing that's just not really intuitive in here is you can create images with Perplexity. There are some, like Claude doesn't really do images, and some other platforms don't do images. Perplexity can do images. You just have to ask it. Create, I don't know. Doesn't really matter. But if you ask it to create an image, it can do it. It's just a lot of like a ChatGPT or Gemini, they'll actually have a create image mode. that you can select under, whichever menu. Perplexity doesn't really have it, so a lot of people don't realize that you can actually create images. But you just have to ask it to, and then it'll take a minute, but it will usually create something. Yeah. So it's like, maybe that's not the exact car that I wanted or whatever, but it's just the whole idea is that if you just create an image and then put in a full description of what you want, it can actually create images. And like I said, a lot of people don't realize that because it doesn't have an actual create image mode here. Yeah, that's all I can really think of. I mean, again, there are a lot of other things in here, but I think that's a lot to get you started in Perplexity. So again, just perplexity.ai. This is your main screen. If you see something that has a pro or a max next to it, that means that your plan needs to be upgraded to use it. The whole thing with the platform is it is web search first. Answers will have citations next to them. You can go as deeply as you want into the citations to make sure that whatever it gave you back wasn't a hallucination. You can try different models from a lot of different companies, so like Gemini, OpenAI, etc. And there are just a bunch of different modes in here. But Perplexity is web first, research first, citation first. Those are kind of all the same thing. And then it just has a bunch of other features around it. So go to Perplexity, play around with it, try it out. You can do a lot with the free plan. If you hit a wall, then consider paying for it if you want to, or don't, your choice. But you can do a ton with the free plan. Most of what I showed you is available in the free plan. So try it out and see what you think, and we will see you next time.